The dawn in Aeloria was heavy with anticipation. Ethan woke to the gentle hum of the forest, but it felt different today, more alive, as if the trees themselves were waiting for him to act. He knew this was the day. For the past week, he had been training tirelessly with Lena, learning to bend light to his will, to create shields that could withstand immense force. But today was different. Today was his first real test. Lena was waiting for him at the edge of the clearing, her staff casting a soft, ethereal glow in the morning mist. Her expression was serious, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and concern. "Today," she said, her voice calm but firm, "you face your first test. This is not about power, Ethan. It is about wisdom and choice. The realm needs to know if you are ready." Ethan's heart hammered against his ribs. This wasn't practice anymore. This was the realm itself judging him, measuring his worthiness to carry the mark that now pulsed with a life of its own on his hand. As if responding to his thoughts, the dense forest before them parted in a slow, sweeping motion. A winding path of shimmering light appeared, leading up to a small, floating island suspended high above the valley floor. At the island's center stood a stone pedestal, shrouded in swirling mists. Hovering just above it was a small, glowing crystal, its light pulsating like a tiny, captured star. "That crystal," Lena explained, her gaze fixed on the island, "contains the first secret of your mark. To claim it, you must walk the path and face what lies within the mists. If you succeed, you will unlock more than just power. You will begin to understand the weight of responsibility that comes with it." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves, and stepped onto the path of light. The moment his foot touched its surface, the mist on the island ahead coiled around his legs like living tendrils. It was cold, seeping into his bones, and with it came whispers, dark, insidious whispers that echoed his deepest fears. He saw images forming in the fog, visions of failure, of the monstrous seekers capturing him, their shadowy claws closing in. He saw himself losing control of his powers, unleashing a torrent of destructive energy upon the very world he was meant to protect. He stumbled, his legs shaking, the whispers growing louder, more convincing. But then, a familiar warmth spread from his hand, from the mark. It was a silent encouragement, a reminder of his purpose. He focused on that warmth, letting it guide him forward. 1 step, 2 steps. With every heartbeat, his courage solidified, pushing back against the tide of fear. He was not just a boy anymore. He was a bearer of the mark, and he would not falter. As he finally reached the pedestal, the crystal above it flared, its light intensifying, bathing him in a brilliant glow. The whispering mists recoiled as if burned. He reached out, his fingers trembling slightly, and the moment they brushed against the crystal's smooth surface, his mind was flooded with visions. He saw the history of Aeloria unfold before his eyes, ancient guardians clad in armor of light, the first realm bearers who forged the connection between worlds, and the origin of the Seekers, creatures of envy and shadow, who had waited for centuries to seize the realm's magic for themselves. He saw himself standing at a crossroads, a fulcrum between light and darkness, the fate of countless worlds resting on his shoulders. The vision was overwhelming, but it was also clarifying. He finally understood the stakes. The crystal pulsed one last time, sending a brilliant spark of energy directly into his mark. He gasped as intricate, glowing patterns he had never seen before blossomed across his skin. Suddenly, the mists around the pedestal erupted with renewed violence. Shadowy forms, smaller and faster than the Seekers but just as menacing, swirled around him, their claws swiping, trying to push him off the island. They were manifestations of the fear he had just conquered. Now, given physical form, the crystal floated just above his head, humming with a powerful energy. Acting on pure instinct, Ethan raised his marked hand. A dome of pure white light exploded outwards, enveloping him completely. The shadows crashed against it, their forms hissing and dissipating. But this time, the light did more than just shield him. It actively reflected the shadows back, turning their own malevolence against them until they vanished into thin air. The forest around him seemed to exhale a collective sigh of relief. Ethan stood trembling, not from fear, but from the sheer exhaustion and exhilaration of the power that had flowed through him. Lena approached, her eyes shining with pride. "You did it," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "You succeeded, not just because you were strong, but because you faced your own fear and did not let it consume you. That is what makes a true bearer of the mark." Ethan looked down at his hand. The intricate glow now mirrored the patterns within the crystal he held. He felt a connection to Aeloria, to the very land beneath his feet, that was stronger and deeper than ever before. He finally understood. The mark was not a gift of power. It was the burden of responsibility, a sacred duty to protect the realms from the encroaching darkness. As the sun began to dip behind the distant floating islands, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, High above, unseen, a shadowy figure observed the scene from a hidden vantage point, its gaze fixed on Ethan. It had watched the entire test, noting the boy's rapid progress with growing impatience. A voice, cold and sharp as splintered ice, echoed through the unseen forests. The child awakens too quickly. We must act before he learns the full extent of his power. The time for waiting is over. Though Ethan could not see them, he felt the weight of their gaze upon him, a prickling sensation on the back of his neck. A thrill of both fear and raw determination surged through him. He knew the fight was far from over. That night, Ethan lay on a floating platform, looking up at the stardusted sky. His hand glowed faintly in the darkness, a constant reminder of the day's events. He realized that each step of his journey in Aeloria was a test not only of his strength, but of his heart, his courage, and his will. The first secret of the mark was unlocked, but this was only the beginning. He knew that tomorrow would bring new lessons, more difficult challenges, and shadows that would not rest until the realm itself trembled and fell into their grasp. And he would be ready to meet them. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you love magical stories and epic adventures like this one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Chhoti Si Duniya. We have so much more to explore together. Stay tuned because the adventure is only just getting started. To be continued.